Coming out on such a lovely night. Talk about April Fools by nature for us. We appreciate everyone being here. So with that, let's get our meeting called to order. Starting with roll call to establish quorum, starting with Juan Carlos.
Here.
Corby.
Here.
Jen.
Here.
Nicole. Here. I'm here as well. We officially have a quorum. Nicole, has the meeting been properly noticed?
It has.
And could you read our equity and land acknowledgement statements?
Absolutely. Our equity framework states, in the Verona Area School District, our mission is that each student will acquire the knowledge and skills necessary to achieve their personal goals, thrive in a diverse global society, and lead a healthy, self-fulfilling life. To meet this mission, the Verona Area School District will ensure that every individual has access to the educational, social, and emotional support they need to feel valued and affirmed in their unique identities and experiences. We acknowledge that inequities and power dynamics exist in our system, such that some individuals, on the basis of their identities, face barriers to accessing the opportunities they need to experience success. In acknowledgement of such, the Verona Area School District is committed to disrupting these systems of inequity. There are currently 12 tribal nations who call Wisconsin home, with the Ho-Chunk Nation being the primary group living around Madison. No matter where you are in this state, you are on the ancestral land of a tribal nation. As we begin our meeting, we honor the land upon which we stand.
Thank you so much. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at tonight's agenda? Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Motion from Nicole, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Jen, all in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Tonight's meeting agenda has been officially adopted. We have a number of special guests here tonight, so I'm going to turn it over to our superintendent, Dr. Clarity, to introduce our guests.
Excellent. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So excited to have everyone here today and an opportunity to celebrate the greatness of the Verona Area School District in so many different ways. I'm so appreciative of our Board of Education who carve out a great time in our agendas to recognize our students, to recognize our staff, and to recognize our community members. And so thank you for the opportunity to be able to do such work today. I want to do a little bit of reorganization, that's okay, because I want to make sure that we highlight and show deep gratitude for our students and our students that are here first. And so with that, I'm going to ask that we're going to go in the order of, we're going to go core knowledge, then we're going to go our Black Student Union, and that'll be followed by some of our COLA Award winners, and then we'll hear a brief presentation by Representative Bear. I'm going to ask that if you could, just so we can make sure that all of our people that are going to be recognized today have an equal audience. If we could have you stay through those pieces of the presentation to make sure that everyone is heard and honored in the things that they have worked and accomplished. We'll do a quick pause and we'll get into budget and finance. And if you really want to hear about budget and finance, you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, we'll do a pause to gracefully let everyone get ahead of the rain and storms, okay? So with that, I'm just going to begin our recognition today, and we're going to ask Ms. Stephanie Krenz to come up and joined by the student leaders of Cornwallis Charter School Elementary Schools. Yes, that's perfect.
There we go. All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, our wonderful school board. I'm Stephanie Krenz. I am the proud principal of Cornwallis Charter School here in Verona, Wisconsin. Come on up. Thanks, everyone. We have the privilege here to welcome our Cornwallis Charter School, our elementary student leaders. I want to preface that the majority of these slides were created by our student leaders. Not all felt comfortable enough to speak, but they were here. So the majority of the speaking is going to be a mixture of me and them presenting about the great work that they're doing at Cornwallis Charter School. So our student leadership, this is our student leadership board. This first slide, this is a slide that these student leaders see from me every time that we meet. We meet about once a month, sometimes more than that. Sometimes less, depending on the time that we're in. But right from the very beginning, I told them why. Why do we have this group of student leaders? And this is what they see. I say, I want to hear your voices. I want to hear their voices and opinions about our school. For me as a leader, student empowerment is number one. So they know that the main reason is that I hear their voices and opinions about our school. Another why is to help them grow in their leadership skills. So they have been seen as leaders, but we know that they're still growing in these skills as leaders. And so every time in the meetings, I try to incorporate ways for them to grow in their leadership skills. And then they do the planning. They plan projects, they plan improvements and activities in our school. And you'll see evidence of them as well. So not just hearing their voices, then they're on the grounds, they're meeting, they're making the plans, and they're up in front of their peers. How are these students chosen? These are students who are in 4th and 5th grade at Core Knowledge Charter School. They have been recognized for their leadership skills by their teachers, by student services members, so our counselors, our school social worker, and me. Seeing the work that they are doing in their schools, seeing the way that they interact with their classmates, they are nominated as leaders. And then we reach out to families to make sure, and also them, and ask if they would like to be part of the group or not. And then this is the official group of our members for our elementary student leader group. So when I say your name, not all could make it tonight, but when I say your name, kind of wave and say hi. Braden Connor, 4th grade. Audrey Gleason, 4th grade. Shamal is not able to be with us tonight. Sheena, awesome. Braden, Cora, and Laura. Those are our 4th grade. Blake wasn't able to be here tonight, or Ruth. Kinsey is here. Adeline, and Bryson. Hi. Wanted to talk about what we do for some of our core virtue activities. So we have core virtues in our school. Come on. Tell them what you'd like to share about our core virtue activities.
In February, loyalty was the core virtue of the month. Core student leaders made a video showing examples of loyalty for all of CKCS elementary students to see.
Another core virtue of the month was wonder. For wonder, we made up a wonder wall for people to write down some questions on their minds that would be answered.
You can see a picture of the wonder wall in the bottom left corner. Yeah. These activities encourage children to improve important skills, important values such as loyalty and wonder.
We also have had quite a number of assemblies to honor the work of our students. So I think we just wanted to talk about our assemblies.
Roughly, we have an assembly roughly every quarter. At these assemblies, we pour core tickets and recognize people who have shown their core values. These core values are be respectful, be responsible, be safe and kind, and be accountable. The assemblies teachers play minute to limit fun games. The games are their class budgets.
We have some pictures. Yeah, we want to talk about those.
Pictures are from the first quarter, from one on the left, my left. And teachers playing games, and then on the right is some people playing cards.
We also have how this group makes them better leaders. I think we had Bryson and or Braden and Braden. Do you guys want to talk about that one?
I have learned a lot about how this group makes us better leaders. I've learned a lot about leadership in this group, and I think that everyone else in the group has too. Not only have I learned about leadership, I have also had the ability to help plan different events at CKCS. I've been able to help with the podium assemblies, core activities, and much more. I think we all have a good feeling in this group. Yeah.
When we talked about ways that we can improve, or what the students think that they can improve Core Knowledge Charter School, believe me, they have a lot of ideas. We're always listening to what they would like to do to help improve our school, from things to longer recess. But to be serious, we've talked about the need for some more active time in our school, and really have been pushing hard to help increase some of our quiet minutes, and having some more time for our students to be active, and that was due to their voice. Always talking about how we can improve lunch and thinking about lunch. These are things that are really near and dear to their heart. But more specifically as well, some other things in helping them grow in their leadership. Here's an example of an activity that we did to help warm up from one of our activities where they were reflecting on their own leadership skills, what they thought they brought, what things they valued, leaders that they look up to, so that they're really thinking about how they're growing in their leadership skills as well. And then some other just last events, they set, so sometimes when they were thinking about what have we done, I said, guys, we've done a lot. They have done a lot for our school. They set a challenge. We collect links in our school for showing the core values. And they last year set a challenge for the school, and they said, this is the number of links we have to earn. And then they wanted to have a snow fest in the middle of the snow. We had a hard time with the weather, but they ended up getting a snow fest, and then they planned the whole thing. And also I've had some of these students and some of my middle school students be a student voice in our interview processes as well. Some of my next steps and my future thinking, we have school tours. Being a charter school, we have a lot of school tours in our school, and I would love to incorporate these students to be more of part of our school tours. And we've talked a lot about governing council, connecting more with our governing council, community service events, and how we can connect some of the work that our governing council is doing and get their feedback as well. And then last but not least, these are my middle schoolers. I have the great opportunity of being a K-8 school as well. So we also I have a middle school advisory council that has started up this year. This was the first project to start at the beginning, but doing quarterly lunch and learns with our middle schoolers, and also being in the same building as Badger Ridge Middle School. Our Core Knowledge Middle School students partner with Badger Ridge and their student council as well, and then their affinity groups in our building as well. So lots of opportunities for student voice, but really wanted to bring our young leaders here this evening.
Wow. Any questions from the board? We're all just amazed at all of the work that you've been doing all year, and we would like to get a snow fest for the board as well. So if you could give us some tips on that, that'd be fantastic. I think we might have. Okay, next year, right? I appreciate the honesty. That's good critique.
All right, thank you.
So it's really, before I present you with your plaque on behalf of the Board of Education, it is so important that we continue to center student voice and really promote our priority area of student agency and allowing that our leadership moves to come directly from the needs and desires from the students that we are serving on a daily basis. And so I appreciate our board again for creating those spaces. I appreciate your leadership, Ms. Krentz, for allowing that. And thank you, most importantly, our students for stepping up and being leaders in our organization. We know that you're going to thrive in what we know to be the most diverse global society that has ever existed. And the steps you're taking now will allow you to truly thrive. So thank you so much. So with that. On behalf of the board, I'd like to present Cornell Star School of Elementary Student Leaders. Congratulations on being recognized by the VSD Board of Ed. We are proud of the Cornell Charter School and your leaders and applaud your leadership. So.
He's gonna hold it. Photo opportunity.
That's so cute.
All right, thank you.
Such a great group.
All right, our next organization that we would like to recognize, both for our students and for our staff, is our Verona High School Black Student Union. Our Black Student Union is under the leadership of some dynamic staff members here that are going to come up and speak a little bit, as well as the students. And the reason it's such an honor today is that, we talk about representation and making sure that our students have real world experiences and experiences that truly allow them to thrive as well. Well, we had the inaugural HBCU college visit, and our students were able to engage at historically Black colleges and universities across our nation. Due to our staff just taking the initiative and drive and doing a little fundraising and a lot of driving in vans. They took this on, and our students are reporting a remarkable experience that is really life-changing. I think it's life-changing for some of our staff as well, to be able to allow our students to have this opportunity. So if I can have the representation from the Black Student Union come up to the same spot, and we'll talk a little bit about your journey.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kiana Foster. I'm the school interventionist, but I'm also the BSU advisor. I have the chaperones for the tour. I have Mark Shepherd, Austin Toles, and Stephanie Sanchez. And these are some of my students who went on the tour with us. I started off this journey as the advisor, and I sat down and I listened to our students. What is it that you want to see happen this year? I knew that there were a lot of changes in the past that they went through, and so I didn't want to repeat those issues that they had before, but I wanted to do something different. And this is one of the experiences that they wanted to do, was the HBCU sweater.
Okay, one more. So, yes. Okay, so we visited I think 4 colleges. I think it was Kentucky, Central State, and Mary Medical College. Oh, it's right there, guys. But I think it was actually, first of all, I think it was really cool because we got to help choose what college we went to. And most school trips are you're going where you're going, you're set where you're set. So that was pretty fire. And it was really cool because we went to the colleges. It was in being in Wisconsin, most spaces are predominantly not Black. And it was really cool because being somewhere was it's just all Black people. It's so wow. Because it's empowering is what it is. That's what I mean. It's empowering, reassuring that there's somewhere where you are going to belong regardless of your skin tone, what it's just you are where you are, and that's great. I'm not reading these cards right now. Okay. I made so many new friends, and it was so exciting because people I've roomed with, love them. 10 out of 10, best people I've met. When we were visiting the Harry, we met the founder, the president, which was literally, that's us, which is crazy because I don't think that happens with most people. So, yeah, we can say we met him. It was crazy that our school has to nurture such a positive experience. And even when we weren't actively at college or museum or whatever learning, we were still learning, with each other, places that were just for us, great. And I hope we can do it next year.
Hello everyone, my name is Pierre Nichols. My experience during this HBCU trip was life-changing. We went to, as she said, Fisk University, Meharry Medical College, Kentucky State, and Central State. For Fisk University, I learned about the City of Music and how they were founded, which was extremely interesting. It was more than just being this college for primarily colored students. It's about being a college available for the community. At Meharry Medical College, that's a college for the much older people, not right after high school, which is also cool. And they were super involved with the community, providing, I think it was dental and health care to those who might be less fortunate. And it was all for free, which is extremely cool. Lastly, I'm gonna skip over Kentucky State and all that. I like the yellow brick road. Central State. Now that one, I think that was the best college experience so far. From the what is it called? Students on campus to the staff, they were all bright, positive, and they all were together like a community, like a family. They all strive. They all strive to ensure that they all achieve success or greatness. It was like a family. I mean, they all wanted one another to have that opportunity to achieve a higher education and not being bound by the color of their skin. And yeah, I hope we do it again next year.
Everybody, my name is Kelly Butler. I'm a senior there at Verona. I actually from Baltimore, Maryland. This is my first year here. After going ahead in August, this is the first time I've been at Black City Meeting. The trip was good. Like I said, with the Fest and Harry, Kentucky State Central. Fest was good. The Harry kind of good. Something like nursing, and Kentucky State is kind of good. But the college that took to me the most was Central State. One because it was big and it was friendly. I like the chant mostly. And I like how everybody was come together. It was fun. I like the tour guides. They had football, basketball, something I want to do at college. But they also had my criminal justice major because I want to be a police officer. After I got a chance to talk to the FBI agent there, and I actually talked to the at the Central website. But I also did. I also had a police tour, the National City Police Officer. I rode around with the police. It was actually fun. I got a chance to write somebody for one day. But that was good though. But that's really it. Most people, I suggest whoever go to college, mostly go to Central State. Mostly that's really good. Like won't be disappointed. It's actually friendly, nice, fun. After explore different states outside of where I'm home from Baltimore. So,
I'm Austin Talls. I'm the security here at the high school, and also blessed to be a part of Black Student Union. This was a historic thing for these kids. As you can hear from their testimonies, being able to see themselves at every turn in prominent roles, I kind of took, looking at this now, I see that I took my upbringing for granted. I had Black role models at every turn. I don't remember my first Black teacher because I had him since kindergarten. My middle school principal was a Black man with dreadlocks 21 years ago. So being able to see the way it impacts these kids to everywhere they look, they see themselves in prominent roles: presidents, entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers, in all of these different ways, FBI agents. And it really empowers them, like MJ said, and gives them that belief they can see that they can achieve anything that they want to in their life. And that's very powerful to see it for yourself, because seeing stuff on the internet is one thing. But when you get to actually be in that arena, you actually get to walk down the street, and everywhere you look, you see yourself. That representation is very powerful. I'm not gonna lie, you almost lost me. I almost applied to work and go to Central State myself. But no, I realized the importance. I realized the importance of me being here for these kids, them being able to see another Black man that they can come talk to, they can be comfortable, they can share anything with me. I'm there for them, and they understand that. And so now my goal is to make sure as many of them are able to experience something like this as possible. So I look forward to the years to come and being able to make this continue to grow as much as possible. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm
majority practice coordinator here at the school. Okay. I'm the elder statesman on the HBCU team. So for me, you know, like growing up with some people, I knew about the Divine Nine and HBCUs, but I came to Wisconsin playing football, yeah. But I had to, watching them, that was the biggest thing impactful for me, watching young people learn these things as we went over what's an HBCU, what's the difference between a PWI, a Black institution like Chicago State. We took a visit there. So in that thing, we got to see like, okay, what you choose, you have different options now. You have so many different options and what's for you. And for them to take that trip and get to see themselves, like everybody's reiterating, see themselves in that trip, and knowing there's other universities you could go to, there's other places, but just to, like I said, get out and see it and start knowing the difference between what is what, and like I said, see the learning taking place. And that was very impactful. So I'm just happy to be a part of it. It's my first year here, so I got to be a part of the inaugural thing. And like I said, I want to keep it going too. So thank you all.
For allowing us this opportunity to take our students out and really just get to explore the bond that they built with each other, along with the staff. You know, some of the staff did say that they didn't really know the students like they wanted to. So these bonds that we formed was just impeccable. And so we look forward to continuing to do this in the future.
So this was them at Central State University. They got to learn the chant.
Oh, sorry.
And I took out in front of Detroit, there was some young lively fellas.
Really quick, Corby and Miss Tracy, you guys are gonna love it. While we were at Fest, and we had the students had the opportunity to see one of the Divine Nine, right? We're in a sorority. They were doing a community event, a fundraiser, and I shared with Miss Tracy the poodles. I shared with Miss Tracy that the kids were having an opportunity to see them interacting with the community because it's not often that we can see them, right, that interaction that they have. Miss Tracy was so excited, and I told her I couldn't wait to share that with her in Corby. That was the thing
Make sure we gotta make sure. That's on the next slide.
Yeah, that's one. It's on the one after
It's going on right now.
Sincerely though, you know, I got to speak to the team before they left, and then I kind of wanted to go, but then I don't like driving for it, so but I want to thank our staff. You know, they were away from their families for almost a week. Just their own time on the road, supporting our students, driving van, getting them fed, housing, and so that was a great initiative. And you to be the first, you always will have the recognition and legacy of being the first to have done the terror, but you won't be the last. We promise you that. We heard your voices, MJ. So we're gonna keep it real, we didn't let you know what they did, but congratulations to all of you. Glad you had the graduate experience, and what I ask you to do though, take it into the community, take it out into the foyer, talk to the other students, and make sure you pay it forward. The people sacrifice for you to be there, sacrifice so everyone can understand the power of this experience, all right? So we can grow this community, we get better every year. So on behalf of the Board of Education, we want to thank you for engaging in the inaugural Historical Black College and University Tour. And congratulations to the high school BSU. All right, next we have the honor of being able to celebrate three of our amazing educators here in the Verona School District. And we are so delighted, and when you think about the power of the Herb Cole Award, to know that we have three here in our own very school district, it speaks volumes to the talent that continues to serve our students, to embrace our community. And you know, this isn't going to sound like the most professional stating. They are just great human beings. You know, the people that you see on the screen are great human beings. I think that, and the best thing that you can think of is, would I want my child in Annalise's classroom? Would I want my child in Mr. Bruner's school? Would I want my child in Ms. Taylor's school? And absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, I would drop them off knowing they're going to get a great education. They're going to be safe, and they're going to be valued in all three of those settings. And that is what encompasses a great educator. That's why they are selected among those in our state to be the Herb Cole Award winners. So if I could, I want to recognize Ms. Annalise Howe, Ms. Teresa Taylor, and Mr. Todd Bruner. If you could please come up in recognition of the Herb Cole Award winners, please. So I got so emotionally caught up and I forgot to read the formal presentation, so I'll do that. I want to begin with our classroom teacher, Ms. Annalise Howell, and we always going to start where the magic happens. Ms. Howell is a Verona High School physics and mathematics teacher and curriculum and learning specialist, and we congratulate you on being selected for our teacher fellowship for your leadership and service in and outside of the classroom, and for your ability to inspire the love of learning and to motivate students. You've been recognized among a very select few here in the state of Wisconsin for everything that you do, and the Herb Cole Award is just one inkling of how much we appreciate and value everything that you bring to our students on a daily basis. So thank you so much, Annalise Howell. I don't think these two phenomenal school principals will mind me talking about them as a dynamic duo. If I may do that. They've been side by side throughout their career here in the Verona School District. So we're so excited to announce, and congratulations to Teresa Taylor, the principal for Glacier Edge Elementary, and Todd Bruner, the principal for Sugar Creek Elementary, on the Principal Leadership Awards. They're being recognized for setting high standards for instruction, achievement, and character, and creating a climate to best serve students, families, staff, and community. And I tell you, the words on this paper don't even begin to tell you about the experiences that every Wildcat student gets in their building every single day. No, Bart, I would put them against anyone. So thank you both for your spectacular leadership. Thank you for your dedication to our community. And thank you for the thousands and thousands of students that you have served over your glorious careers. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate everything that you do. I know we've known you from our kids, from our friends, as colleagues, and we are really grateful that you are part of our district and making things so wonderful for our students in every way. Everything that you touch just is a little bit more magical because of your presence. So thank you. We're really grateful for you.
Absolutely. Stay here, please. Board input.
Yeah, do we want to do that right now?
Yeah.
In the middle of the board meeting? Okay.
I'll stay on camera.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. You're not gonna hug us. Should we?
Right on in there.
All right.
So, so much goodness in this room.
Absolutely.
So much goodness in this room.
So we have one more presentation that I would like to recognize and bring to the stage our representative, Mr. Mike Baer. Mike Baer is going to talk a little bit about the state legislation and impact on education and the community abroad. So thank you for joining us here tonight at our board meeting, and thank you for helping us celebrate our students and our staff. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's quite an honor to be here to celebrate all the great work that you're doing, and seeing this sort of thing gives me even more confidence in the school district than I had before, and that's thanks to all of you and your leadership, and even more so to all of you students and parents and educators doing the hard work and making us proud to be a part of this community. It's certainly making me proud to be a representative of this community. And as a parent of two Verona area kids at Mrs. Taylor's Glacier Edge School, I can say I'm just so happy and grateful that they're a part of this district. Watching them grow here is really rewarding, and it's truly thanks to all the great work that you do. And thank you, Dr. Clarity, for your leadership as well. I had you as a guest at the Governor's State of the State address, that was last year. And I'll come back to that at the end. That was a fun experience, and appreciate having you there.
Absolutely.
We have some terrific leadership at the state level too. Governor Evers and Dr. Underly are true awesome champions of public education. They're always focused on doing what's best for kids. And unfortunately, our leadership in the legislature, not so stellar on education issues, but I can attest that we are trying our best to do some good things. And one of the things that the core students talking about core virtues and values that I think I work in the only part of maybe the only business or industry where it's okay to be unkind to each other in politics, which can be really frustrating. I know any of us who have been on ballots before, it's not always the best, most rewarding experience. But once you get to do this kind of work and work in the Capitol and do stuff that impacts people's lives, that's when it gets to be a lot of fun. You can do things like work on wonder and sitting there. I do that all the time, wondering what can we do better to help kids who are having trouble getting food at lunch or and other challenges that we run into. So the legislature is more or less done for this legislative session, which is frustrating because there's a lot of time left on the calendar, but leadership has decided that we're done and we're on to campaigning. So I started writing just a couple of bullet points because I wanted to be brief and quick, but then it turned into 3 pages of notes. I've been working so hard. So you'll indulge just a few minutes. I appreciate that. There's some good news and some bad news to report about this legislative session and this state budget. The governor negotiated a deal that adds about $1 billion to public education, which is obviously good news and helps. Bad news is that came with an increase to choice schools as well. So I voted against it for that reason, but there is still more money available for public education, which is good on balance. The governor also used his veto pen, and this got some good attention in the news, to extend funding by $325 per pupil per year for 400 years in the future, which was a sort of funny little creative writing exercise that he went through to make sure that was able to happen. And the bad news again is we're still not coming close to solving the pinch that every school board budget you're facing, that every school board across the state is facing. On tomorrow's spring ballot, there's more than 100 school districts across the state that are asking voters by referendum to either add money to the operating or add money for buildings. And I find that frustrating when we sit on a budget surplus of $3 billion. The funding is there. We shouldn't and don't need to be asking voters to do it that way, but that's the unfortunate political circumstance that we're in. I also want to focus for a second on special education. That's something that I'm passionate about. I have a sister with a profound learning disability. And so in the governor's budget, he proposed increasing a doubling of special education funding from about 30%, that's where you get, to 60%, which would have been helpful. Republicans removed that from the budget, and the Democrats introduced a bill to increase that to 90%. Frankly, I'd like it to go to 100%, because not every special education department is the same from district to district. There's different needs and students. And so I think going to 100 would increase the equity of outcomes in the end, and that's something I want to work on next year. During these past 2 years, there's also been unfounded, unreasonable attacks on our educators and on our students, which I'm frankly tired of, on trans students, trans athletes, attacks on librarians and folks in libraries, and all that's politics. And students out there, again, politics is a place where unkindness tends to happen. And I find that unfortunate and not the stuff that I want to be involved in. But the good news is a lot of those bills have been vetoed by the governor. He just vetoed one bad bill, I think, Friday, about school administrator qualifications, which is, if they get passed, I think, an insult to all of our administrators who do really hard work to get their qualifications and earn trust from the community. And so we do have that good backstop there. And the past, this is stuff I really want to talk about now. The past 2 years, interacting with this school district has been really rewarding and fun for me. At the end of last summer, we had a great event with Dr. Jill Biden, welcoming students back, welcoming teachers back. Students weren't there yet. It was a great chat, great opportunity to visit with a number of educators and talk about how exciting they were. I was energized from that, and I hope everybody was. I spoke to third graders at Country View and at Glacier Edge, just a little bit to Sugar Creek, and a couple others across my assembly district. And the kids had a lot of very good questions, and it was fun to be grilled by them over an hour, sitting there sweating, listening to trying to get through the questions. I think they're better sometimes than the grown-ups are at asking tough questions of elected officials. And we got to honor Mrs. Lowry for being a BIAC Outstanding Teacher of the Year, and that was also a lot of fun. So the past couple of months in my office, we've had artwork up from Verona area students, and that's something we'll try to keep doing. And when we first put it up, we had my colleagues and staff from across the Capitol, and sort of word got out and they came to see it. And now a number of other offices are doing the same thing, getting art from their school districts. And we get a lot of compliments, people coming in and liking what they're seeing on the walls. And that really makes a building that can be kind of ugly sometimes, even though it's beautiful and has its grandeur, but the environment can get ugly. So it gives a good vibrancy to things happening there. Let's see, Dr. Clarity, you were kind enough to give Senator Hesseldine and me a tour of this magnificent building, which was a mind-blowing experience. I mean, I'm so grateful to our community for supporting this, making this building possible. It makes me feel bad for myself and my public schools that I went to. So, great opportunity for our students. And we left happy with a tummy full of great baked goods from the students, chefs, and the beautiful kitchen classrooms. Shortly after I got elected 2 years ago, I heard from students in the American Sign Language class here about their concern about students who are deaf and hard of hearing not having a good alert system when there's an emergency. And so they did a full presentation about that when we visited, and since then I've gotten a bill draft put together. There's still some homework that needs to be done on that. Grown-ups do homework too. It's really late every night doing homework. And we'll try to get that bill introduced next session and try to fulfill what those students were trying to get done. Turns out, won't be surprising to you, an education policy that is complicated and expensive to solve the problem. So we're going to try to figure out something that is workable. 2 weeks ago, I met with a couple of students, actually a whole group of about 10 students who were attending the National Association of Mental Illnesses Advocacy Day in the Capitol. So they came on a field trip to talk with legislators about issues that they were concerned about, primarily mental health challenges in our schools, and there was some really moving stories. And I hope that you all get to hear from them as well. The struggles that they've been through and the courage that they showed, the bravery to share their stories was really inspiring to me, and something that what they're asking for is absolutely things that we need to invest in and be mindful of. And I know you all know that, and can count on me as a partner on that issue. So those partnerships with students, that's really valuable to me. I hope to do more of that this year and the next 2-year term. And I'd like to end on a positive, good news note, and one that I hope gives you some confidence in our state government that we can sometimes get some good things done when it matters for people. So I mentioned Dr. Clarity was my guest at the State of the State address last year, which is an event where the governor gives a speech that looks a lot like the State of the Union that the president does. And when we were visiting before the meeting, one of the things that Dr. Clarity mentioned to me was the need to have every school have Narcan and opioid antagonist available at the schools. So after I co-sponsored the bill that was just that, and after a lot of wrangling back and forth and doing all political things in the Capitol, that bill got passed, and it got signed by the governor, and I have the pen that he used to sign that bill, which I would give to you, sir. Your team's been in touch on a number of issues, and you can count on me to continue to help out on issues like that where it matters. That's one where we're going to save lives. It will save lives, no question. There's no funding for it, so we're going to work. We got another step to do to get some funding for that, but you and your team have been leaders and trailblazers on that. So thank you for that, and more work to go. And I'm here to help you all out, do your thing, and be successful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So happy to answer questions or be on my way.
Any questions from the board? We really appreciate you coming in. We appreciate having such a visible representative of our community at the state. So thank you for that. I know that you are diligent about meeting with your constituents and meeting with your constituents who aren't even old enough to vote yet, ensuring that you have, and I think that representation at the state level when so many things are moving for public education is a really critical issue. So we appreciate it. Thank you for coming to give us an update.
Every group that I talk to, the voting is our superpower. That's a superpower we got to use every election. There's election tomorrow, election in August, election in November. We get 3 chances this year to vote, so use that power.
Absolutely. Just one quick note, you'll be happy to know that our continued training for Narcan is continuing in the spring. The next group is our pupil services team, fully trained, our coaching staff in August, and then our full staff beginning in August of next year, all the way through the next year with partnership with UW. So thank you for your support and partnership, and thank you for promoting and supporting the bill. It means the world that our voice and supporting our students and our community is coming to fruition at the Capitol. So we know it's under your leadership.
It's an honor for me and a privilege to represent you all.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So at this point, we move on to the budget stuff. I know you've all been waiting. We're finally there, but if anyone would like to slip out before the budget stuff, we'll turn our eyes. You can have a minute to slide out. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate seeing everyone tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was gonna be one of my questions. Did they get to see the Greek light while they were there?
You got something to write?
You handed it to me.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. They did get to see that.
Yep, thank you.
We're still alive.
What? Oh, yeah, that's right. Say that was so exciting. I did want to ask, do you know how they did their fundraising for the trip, for the HBCU trip?
It was harder than I had to be, so.
How many of those students are juniors? Because a few said they want to go next year.
Of that group, all except for.
Or just the one?
All except for the one.
I mean, it's just monumental.
Absolutely. One step at a time. We're still alive.
There we go.
Into play, especially tonight, with only 5 board members. According to Pete, we needed 2/3 more vote for budget transfers to be official in terms of us amending them at the state level.
Okay.
Which we can get tonight, but we need all 5 board members to feel confident in their vote this evening.
So the pressure's on with the presentation is what you're saying, right? You gotta.
Yeah, Nicole. Yeah, well, Nicole.
Yeah. Well, we can pause for a moment. We'll hit.
Actually equal 2/3, just for the record.
I was
But it is
wondering.
great, so.
Why do you not match this?
But it is greater than 2/3, yes.
Yeah.
So we don't have 2/3. I know. I have just,
What a
Can't take a math teacher,
What
not
a
a math
flex.
teacher. All right, thanks, everybody. Dr. C, can I have the clicker? I think we just have a few slides. Thank you. So we are here, I think, hopefully for the probably shortest budget update of the year. These are just a few slides on amending our budget, just like we did last year. There's a chance we do one more of these this school year, with the idea that we owe it to our community, we owe it to our board, to make sure our budget is as accurate as possible throughout the year. And eventually, we owe it to the department, to DPI and the state, because the numbers that end up in our final budget are used for school aid calculations. And so there's almost a moral piece to making sure your budget is as accurate as it possibly can be, because all the 450 school districts should be doing the same thing to make sure budgets are the best they can be by the time the school year finishes out. It's also in line with OE6, that Pete and Chad and Dr. Clarity cannot move money from fund to fund without board approval. That's why we're here tonight. So we have a couple of main things we want to discuss with you. So as the board can be reminded regarding the 23-24 budget we passed, we have money set aside, $4.4 million. And that's essentially the money we have left for additional operating permission from the $19 million referendum that we had set aside for debt management of some sort. And we'll actually have a more thorough budget update for you in May that we're going to discuss even the possibility of looking at Fund 38, which is the debt related to post-retirement benefits, as another place to potentially target that $4.4 million. But for the time being, we had set it aside when all of you passed the budget to transfer from Fund 10 operating money we can use to pay people and pay bills to Fund 39 for the purposes of debt management. For a softer landing when we eventually have to add more square footage in our school district and save money on principal and interest again. And that was in our budget. Tonight, we're proposing moving just over $1 million of that 4.4 million that we had set aside solely for debt management for two purposes. And we'll walk through those two purposes tonight. One is a budget adjustment, and I'm going to talk the board through kind of how we got to this point. And the other one is related to a social studies curriculum purchase. That's a one-time purchase. We did not want to, Marcy, you got it? We did not want to do a budget transfer the same night the board heard about the social studies curriculum. We essentially wanted to set the stage that the budget was not an issue, that the board then would get to make a decision on the memo, the consent memo, over $250,000 to give us permission to do that purchase. And so this is the correct way to do this in order of operations. We didn't want you to pass the social studies curriculum and then say 2 weeks later, we need to make a budget transfer after you did. If the board elected not to pass that, we could do another budget transfer and move the money around. However, the board decided best fit for our budget. We got a couple of more details to walk through in a second. I'm going to walk us back to the co-curriculars adjustment. Pete, Rochelle, payroll, and the rest of our finance department, primarily Pete, on basically a weekly basis, is continuing to track how our budget is trending throughout the school year. And that's where there are key times in the school year where if we're cash deficient, that's where we set up that line of credit for short-term borrowing, that we have to make sure we can pay the bills. And Pete continues to try to figure out where we're going to end up with the budget at the end of the year. And in doing so, identified that we were trending over budget in a certain section of our payroll, essentially related to co-curriculars. And identified essentially a math error, an arithmetic error that was built into the budget that we did not put enough money into that line when the board passed the budget in October. And one way to do this, and I think many school districts might do it, Our budget at the end of the year lots of times ends up with money left in the salary and benefits line because you have unfilled positions that happen throughout the school year. We budget to be fully staffed every year. And Pete and I probably could have let it ride and didn't make that decision. We want this budget to be as accurate as possible, and we want to own a mistake with the board when one happens, and this is that case. So the co-curricular is right-sizing what should be in that budget to make sure everyone's paid at the end of the year. Then we talked through the social studies piece. We'll certainly answer questions. The other piece that we're going to detail on 2 spreadsheets are miscellaneous odds and ends that essentially Pete stacks up throughout the year. Steph Kren says, I'd like another $1,000 for a furniture purchase that I had built into a different spot in my budget. Pete, can you move some money around? And when he does that and slides something into kind of non-capital equipment, Pete puts it on a tracker, and eventually we give the board, we ask the board permission to move those funds around inside some of those building-based budgets. That's kind of peanuts compared to the 2 big blocks of money that we're talking about. Does not affect the Fund 10 to 39 transfer. So these are screenshots from Pete's budget worksheet that eventually gets submitted to the state of Wisconsin in terms of where we're moving money around. And the 2 big line items in there are related to undifferentiated curriculum and co-curricular activities. That is the payroll stuff. And then the instructional staff, the instructional services line, that's going to be your social studies curriculum. True. And then the next line is related to us reducing the Fund 39 transfer by $1 million. Pete is by my side if we have technical questions at all around what that total budget amendment looks like. But in some regard, Pete said on the way here, we're really fortunate that our district's in the position that we were prepped and ready and did all the appropriate work for you to hear about our social studies curriculum next week. And we have one-time funding to just pay for it. That we don't have to come back to you to pass an unbalanced budget. That we can buy really critical materials with one-time funding that's supported to us by the past referendum. That's essentially what that's doing.
Quick question.
Yep.
Was there anything on the detail of the budget that you all provided to us? Like, should the board have caught that co-curriculars thing, or was that not at a level of detail? Is there anything we could have done better to be better partners in that?
I'm going to attempt to paraphrase what Pete told me, and then Pete add more detail if you'd like. Pete goes through 5,000 different budget lines just to pay the people in our organization. So that eventually has to be rolled up into a 120-page budget book that is understandable to the board and understandable to the public. And that's essentially where Pete identified that there was, a budget shortage that we would need to do a transfer. So we can even explore in May if the board would like attempt to try to find a format that there's more detail, but it's difficult to take that next step down when you're talking 5,000 lines with all different funding sources.
And even in a case like this, if it's the co-curriculars, that's all, it's salaries, and DPI, although they have hundreds and hundreds of different accounts, but they only have one for salaries. So all of our salaries would say, for the 10 fund, $40 million. So an extra couple $100,000 here would be very hard to see at that level.
Gotcha.
But Jen and I actually have it on our notes for our meeting tomorrow, and plans for next year's budget, just how we can improve it.
I'm not asking for more financial review, but I just wanted to make sure, like, if the board could have done a better job in asking better questions or kind of helping to do that second set of eyes, but it doesn't sound like it was at the detail level that.
Understand. In some regards, it's Pete's own obsessive compulsive nature that caused this, to quite honest. We could have likely made it through the school year and made payroll, and the budgets would have come close to being in with unfilled positions, and it potentially would never have been caught. And Pete found it and just owned it and said, we gotta make the budget right. And again, it has a domino effect for us doing the correct reporting to the state, because it all kind of eventually folds into how schools are aided in terms of how much they spend per pupil out of operating expenses. Other questions? Okay, LSU Iowa is on tonight.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
No.
The rematch.
The kids are watching it right now.
Must blame us.
So, Dr. C, I think we're good. We've got 2 board votes tonight that Meredith will obviously lead us through. We had healthcare that we presented on at the previous board meeting. We're just asking for board approval on that tonight, and then the budget transfer.
Sounds good. Are there any questions from the board about the budget transfer or about the healthcare that was discussed last week? Okay. So let's see if we can get the 2/3 of the board. I mean, I don't know. With that, is there a motion to approve the fiscal year 24 proposed budget transfer as presented tonight? So, motion by Jen, is there a second? Second by Nicole. All in favor, signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify with nay. The transfer has been approved. Thank you so much. Moving on, is there a motion to approve the 2024-25 contract with GHC to provide employee health care coverage? Motion from Nicole, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Corby, is that Corby?
Yep.
All in favor signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify with nay. The motion to approve the healthcare contract with GHC for 2024-25 has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any general board updates?
There's an election tomorrow, you should vote. If you don't know your polling place, go to myvote.wi.gov.
If you type in my vote, it seems to autofill in Google.
That's all you need, because Google knows where you live.
Yep.
All right,
Exactly.
great.
Go vote.
Good civic announcement, thank you. Any public comment?
Any public?
Thank you.
Well done, okay, thank you so much. With that, we'll move on to superintendent consent agenda. Has everyone had a chance to take a look? Any questions?
No.
Concerns? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved as presented. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at the board consent agenda?
Yes.
Questions, concerns?
No.
Hearing none, the board consent agenda is approved as presented. And if everyone can take a quick look at our future meeting dates. Everything looks pretty standard. And with that, knowing that some people would like to get out of here, is there a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Motion from Nicole, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Jen. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Tonight's meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you so much, everybody.
Wow.